In ancient Chinese tradition, there was a clear distinction. Man on the left, woman on the right. Thus, Fuxi, born from Pangu's left eye, is male, and Nuwa, born from his right eye, is female. This perfectly embodies the Chinese ancient concept of men on the left, women on the right. Look at their snake tails, forming a double helix. It's almost identical to the DNA structure in biology textbooks. A snake can transform into a dragon through cultivation, and a dragon can take the shape of a snake when concealing itself in the mortal world. Fuxi is regarded as the leader of ancient tribal alliance. He unified numerous tribes and integrated their individual totems, including the horse, deer, snake, fish, and other animals, to create the comprehensive dragon totem, which became the shield symbol of the Chinese nation. This process of integration is seen as the origin of dragon culture. As its founder, Fuxi is naturally honored as the dragon ancestor. Today, we all call ourselves the descendants of the dragon. It sounds awesome and makes us incredibly proud. After a 12-year pregnancy, she gave birth to Fuxi. The Bagua and the Western astrology are two symbolic systems for understanding the world and predicting the future. And here's a fun twist: the word Bagua has taken on a whole new life. Hello everyone, welcome to my brand new culture channel. Here we take you on a journey through thousands of years of Chinese history and culture. Our main content follows a chronological order, but will sometimes take unexpected detours beyond the dynasties. Every story comes with fun facts and surprising twists. Subscribe! And let's explore Chinese culture together in a light, fun way. No boring lectures, only interesting and useful content. In Chinese mythology, almost every ancient story begins with the same iconic line, 自从盘古开天辟地, since Pangu separated heaven and earth. It's like the universal start code for all myths and legends, setting the very foundation of the universe. So who exactly is Pangu? Pangu is the creator deity in ancient Chinese mythology. He first appeared in 三五历记, records of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors written by Xu Zhen, a scholar of the Wu Kingdom during 3 Kingdoms period. According to legend, before heaven and earth took shape, the universe was nothing but a chaotic mass, like a giant cosmic egg. Inside this egg, Pangu was formed and lay dormant. When he awoke, he used his immense power to split heaven and earth apart. He held the sky above his head and stood firmly on the ground. As Pangu grew taller each day, heaven and earth drifted farther and farther apart. When Pangu finally passed away, every part of his body transformed into all things in the world. His breath became the wind and the clouds. His voice turned into thunder. His eyes became the sun and the moon. His 4 limbs and torso formed the 4 corners of the world and the 5 great mountains, Taishan, Songshan, Hengshan, Hengshan, Huashan. His blood flowed into rivers and seas. His veins turned into land and roads. His muscles became fertile fields. Hair turned into stars. Skin and fine hair grew into plants and trees. His teeth and bones became metals and stones. His sweat turned into rain and dew. In the end, Pangu's entire body gave birth to everything on the earth. According to texts such as Wu Yunli Nianji, records of the 5 cycles of history, when Pangu's body transformed after his death, his left eye became the sun, his right eye became the moon. According to the legend, Fuxi is the god of the sun, while Nuwa is the goddess of the moon. We can therefore infer that Fuxi was formed from Pangu's left eye and Nuwa from his right eye. In ancient Chinese tradition, there was a clear distinction, man on the left, woman on the right. From the perspective of yin-yang philosophy, the left belongs to yang, the masculine active bright force, and the right belongs to yin, the feminine gentle dark force. Thus, Fuxi, born from Pangu's left eye, is male, and Nuwa, born from his right eye, is female. This perfectly embodies the Chinese ancient concept of men on the left, women on the right. However, all these accounts belong to mythology. In fact, there exist more formal and reliable records about Fuxi and Nuwa. Have you ever heard of the Chinese expression 三皇五帝, 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors? It refers to the 3 legendary rulers and the 5 ancient emperors. In fact, this is a collective term for the tribal leaders of the ancient China who made outstanding contributions to the formation and development of Chinese civilization. For example, by inventing key technologies, establishing social order, and so on. In early ancient times, Huang and Di were actually flexible titles for tribal leaders. At first, they were simply general terms for supreme chiefs, similar to designations like elder or commander. Later, legends attached distinct roles to them. Huang became associated with culture and technological inventions, focused on inventions such as writing, sericulture, and other early civilizational technologies. Di, by contrast, was linked to administrative governance, responsible for organizing world control, establishing calendar systems, and other forms of collective governance. But there are many different versions of who these figures really were. We will use what I consider the most authoritative one. The 3 sovereigns include Fuxi, Nuwa, and Shenlong. First of all, how should we understand the term 三皇五帝, the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors? We've already covered its literature meaning. Now let's break it down in greater detail. Who exactly were these Huang and Di? There are many different views on how we should distinguish between them. Below are the most widely accepted interpretations. The 3 Huang sovereigns, there are generally 2 ways to categorize them. One is based on their great inventions and contributions to the progress of human civilization. The other is from a deified perspective. In other words, the 3 Huang are not only great pioneers of civilization, but also often recorded as divine figures. The 5 Di emperors, the focus is mainly on the moral virtue and achievements of leaders during the tribal alliance era. It emphasizes their contributions to culture development, institutional establishment, as well as the advancement of production and the economy. Today, we are going to talk about one of the 3 sovereigns, Fuxi. As mentioned earlier, according to the legend, he was formed from Pangu's left eye. In the next video, we'll discuss the second figure among the 3 sovereigns, Nuwa, who came from Pangu's right eye. Fuxi and Nuwa are the legendary ancestors of the Chinese nation. In the myth, they are often depicted with human heads and snake bodies. The painting of Fuxi and Nuwa with their intertwined bodies is like a prehistoric advertisement for DNA. Look at their snake tails forming a double helix. It's almost identical to the DNA structure in biology textbooks. One is the legendary ancestor of humanity who gave birth to Chinese nation. The other is the royal code of life, which writes the story of genetic inheritance. The human head snake body image comes from ancient Chinese ancestor worship. The snake is one of the most important prototypes of the dragon. In form, both are flexible. In spirit, both are mysterious and powerful. We can say the snake is the early form of the dragon, and the dragon is the exalted form of the snake. A snake can transform into a dragon through cultivation, and a dragon can take the shape of a snake when concealing itself in the mortal world. That is why scholars describe the Fuxi and Nuwa painting from the Tang Dynasty silk scroll as having snake bodies or having dragon bodies. Even today, Chinese people still refer to snakes as little dragons. In the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake is often called the year of the little dragon. Fuxi is known as the dragon ancestor, mainly due to his deeper connection with dragons. This can be understood from the following aspects. Number 1. Direct mythological connection. According to ancient texts, such as records of emperors, Fuxi's birth was linked to the dragons. His mother, Huaxu, became pregnant after stepping on the footprints of the thunder god, who was often depicted as having a dragon form. This gave Fuxi an innate blood connection to dragons. Legends describe Fuxi as having a human head and a dragon body, or snake body. His very image embodies dragon features, further strengthening his direct bond with them. Number 2. The creation and the unification of the dragon totem. Fuxi is regarded as the leader of ancient tribal alliance. He unified numerous tribes and integrated their individual totems, including the horse, deer, snake, fish, and other animals, to create the comprehensive dragon totem, which became the shared symbol of the Chinese nation. This process of integration is seen as the origin of dragon culture. As its founder, Fuxi is naturally honored as the dragon ancestor. Today, we all call ourselves the descendants of the dragon. It sounds awesome and makes us incredibly proud. But in ancient China, the dragon was an exclusive VIP symbol reserved only for the emperors. Back then, if an ordinary person dared to call himself or herself a descendant of the dragon, he or she would most likely be accused of plotting rebellion, arrested, interrogated, and severely punished on the spot. But when it comes to dragons as a symbol of rank in ancient Chinese clothing, there were strict distinctions between the imperial family and high-ranking officials. We often think the dragon was inclusive only to the emperor, but in reality, the emperor's daughter and the empress could also wear 5-clawed dragon patterns. Princes wore 5-clawed pythons. Civil and military officials mostly wore 4-clawed pythons. Among common people or in traditional opera costumes, you would usually see 3-clawed jiao, flat dragons. The interesting thing is that this rule of the numbers of claws equal rank did not exist from the very beginning. During the Han, Tang, and Song dynasties, there were no strict rules on the numbers of claws a dragon could have. Social rank was mainly shown through colors and decorative designs. It was not until the Yuan dynasty that claw numbers began to define status. The Ming dynasty formally established the system: 5 claws for dragons, 4 claws for pythons. And the Qing dynasty refined this hierarchy to an extreme level. So if you see a prince or high-ranking official on screen wearing what looks like a dragon, it's probably not a dragon at all. It's a python or a jiao. Looks can be deceiving. The key is to count the claws. About Fuxi's birth, Huaxu was an outstanding female leader of a prehistorical matriarchal tribe. One day, while wandering near Leizi Lake, now Juancheng in Shandong province, she came across an enormous footprint said to belong to the god Thunder. Out of curiosity, she stepped on it and soon afterwards conceived miraculously. After a 12-year pregnancy, she gave birth to Fuxi. The 12-year gestation period most likely serves to highlight Fuxi's divinity and uniqueness, showing that he was a figure with an extraordinary mission and secret origin. His birth was a holy process aligned with the will of heaven, one that required a long and profound period of nurturing. In the ancient matrilineal society, women held dominant position in society. At that time, the system of exogamous group marriage was practiced. A woman could have marital relationships with multiple men. Under this form of marriage, it was often difficult for children to know who their biological father was. In the legend of Fuxi's birth, Huaxu became pregnant through divine inspiration, with no clear father figure associated. This reflects the social reality of that era, in which there was no fixed concept of a father role. The prominent position of Huaxu as a mother in the legend of Fuxi shows the great importance attached to maternal blood ties in matrilineal society. The vague depiction of the father figure precisely matches the social reality of the time. Children knew only their mother, not their father. Imagine Fuxi as an ancient scholar astronomer, a true cosmic observer. For years, he watched the stars and the moon, studied mountains and valleys, listened to the winds, and observed the changing seasons. From these observations came a brilliant concept, Bagua, or 8 trigrams, an ancient app for describing everything in the universe. The foundation of this system lies in 2 principles, Qian, Yang, like the bright sun, active, strong, masculine, Kun, Yin, like the quiet earth, receptive, gentle, feminine. The Bagua teaches us opposites do not conflict, but complement each other. Day has no meaning without night, and winter at its coldest extreme gives birth to spring. This is the essence of Fuxi's ancient wisdom. The world evolves through the harmony of opposites. Fuxi created Bagua, a kind of guide to dealing with contradictions for the Chinese people. While some see the world in black and white, we view it through the yin-yang perspective. Everything is connected, and one thing transforms into another. Take losing your wallet, for example. Our first reaction might be, what a disaster! But then we think, losing money could be a blessing in disguise. This idea is deeply rooted in our culture. Bad can lead to good, and the extremes turn into their opposites. And this way of thinking is not unique to China. The English proverb, misfortune may be blessing in disguise, says exactly the same thing. So, it turns out that people from different countries, despite living very different lives, often think in similar ways. They just express them in their own languages. This is Bagua. If you've watched any Chinese historical dramas, you've probably seen this symbol before. In China, there are fortune tellers and people who interpret fate, and they often studied the Bagua. They would even carry a flag with the Bagua symbol on it, just like this. The Chinese people have believed in this way of thinking for a very long time. The Bagua and Western astrology are 2 symbolic systems for understanding the world and predicting the future. The Bagua, consisting of 8 yin-yang trigrams, is a dynamic philosophical model. It is applied in traditional Chinese medicine and feng shui, an ancient Chinese practice that balances the flow of energy, qi, to harmonize people with their living environment, teaching us to recognize the interconnectedness and the constant change in nature and life. Western astrology, by contrast, is a static system. It connects destiny with the opposites of the planets at the moment of your birth, with a strong focus on philosophy, personality analysis, and entertainment. Both systems attempt to answer life's big questions about destiny, but while the Bagua emphasizes universal laws, Western astrology focuses on individual traits. In Chinese history, many rulers maintained close relationships with physiognomists, diviners, and other metaphysical practitioners when founding and ruling their dynasties. On the one hand, ancient dynasties often used the concept of the mandate of heaven to legitimize their rule. Through divination and face reading, these experts declared that the rulers had the appearance of the Son of Heaven and were chosen by heaven, giving political authority a divine and legitimate image. On the other hand, skilled masters observed astronomical phenomena and applied feng shui to predict national fortunes. When a dynasty faced a crisis, their words would either ease public anxiety or influence key state decisions. A famous example is Li Chunfeng and Yuan Tiangang of the Tang Dynasty, who created the Tuibei Tu, the back-pushing chart. This work contains prophetic accounts of many later historical events and has to some extent shaped people's understanding of national destiny. And here's a fun twist: the word Bagua has taken on a whole new life. Originally, the Bagua invented by Fuxi was a philosophical tool for understanding the laws of nature, but over time it got super casual and made its way into everyday speech. These days, in modern Chinese, Bagua more often means gossip, chatting about other people's lives, the kind of small talk you hear everywhere. This mostly started in the Ming and the Qing dynasties. Back then, people began using the word Bagua to refer to rumors and little bits of news. Over time, it became the perfect word for being curious about other people's lives or chatting about fun, trivial stuff. It went from a serious philosophical concept all the way to casual, everyday slang. Now we use it like this. This person is so bagua. Here it's an adjective meaning nosy or gossipy. And let's talk some bagua. Here is a noun meaning gossip or juicy rumors. To wrap up today's video, I will let Fuxi speak in his own words.
Hello everyone, I'm Fuxi. Let me set the record straight. Think back to ancient times. People lived in chaos, no laws, no order, just total disorder. So I said to myself, it's time to bring order to this world. First, I taught people to fish and hunt. You can't survive without food, right? Later, I came up with the idea of raising animals at home. That way, you no longer had to depend on luck just to get your next meal. Then I created the early calendar, so people knew when to plant crops and when to rest. After that, I turned to studying herbs. I tasted hundreds of plants, just to find those that could heal the sick. I even invented the 9 silver needles for acupuncture, my own longevity needles, to keep people healthy and to keep life from feeling heavy and dull. I created an ancient stringed instrument and brought music into the world. All in all, I'm not just one of humanity's earliest ancestors. I'm the original all-rounder of prehistoric civilization. So let me ask you, who else can boast a resume like mine?